amazing voice actors from Avatar, The Last Airbender. So please welcome to the stage, Jennie Kwan, Cricket Leigh, and Olivia Hack.
Hello, hello. I bet you can guess which characters we voice. I don't know. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Thank you for coming to this early morning panel. So early.
I love it. It's like we're on The View.
We're gonna get deep, I guess. So I voice Ty Lee.
I voice Fire Nation Suki.
Yay!
But always Kyoshi Warrior Suki.
Sure. And I may, of course. I'm trying to rock my own hair a little bit with hers. But we're just really happy to be here. We love doing this, for you guys. And you get a kick out of it, and we love doing it. So thank you.
Are we doing like Q&A with the audience, or what are we doing here, Zia?
Good morning, everybody, as well. My name is Zio, and I'll be emceeing for this panel. If you guys have any questions, feel free to raise your hands. I'll come around with the mic. I feel like let's start off with kind of a fun question, though. How has it been like working at Nickelodeon versus working with any other studio that you've been at?
Better snacks?
Totally.
But also, it's rad in there. I mean, you get in there, there's something iconic about it, right?
It looks like a rainbow threw up in the lobby. That's what it looks like.
And then I remember when I was a kid watching that, like, slime stuff, and I was like, oh, right, that's this. And it's like fake slime everywhere. It's just fun. It's whimsical, and usually the studios look like a creepy rundown trailer in the middle of a valley or something.
Yeah, because you're not usually in a studio. You're just in a random recording studio. So normally, like, say you do a Warner Brothers cartoon, you're not necessarily going into Warner Brothers.
Exactly.
So it's nice at Nickelodeon, to get to go to the actual location.
All right, for another fun question, how much did you know about the either the show or the character before you got into it? Voice actors don't always kind of have a good grasp on, this is who I'm playing, this is who they are in the world that I'm getting into,
Well, does Suki come in season 1 or season 2?
She does come in season 1.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you did the show, probably wasn't already on the air then.
It was still in development, as far as I remember, but I mean, it was just like any typical audition. You don't know necessarily what you're auditioning for unless they give you what's called a breakdown. And sometimes they'll give you an image, and many of the times they won't. So if I remember correctly, for Suki, it was like, so-and-so age, warrior, part of the community, sides, which are an excerpt from the script. And so whatever you bring to the character is what you bring, and that's what they base the casting off of. So that kind of was my experience.
And I know, like, for Cricket and I, it was different because somebody, we don't know who, was clearly already cast in those roles because we did our first few episodes, what's called, like, to picture. So we were dubbing it, and so I just thought it was some dub. I didn't know.
I was like, oh, that's cute.
And I never read the script. I'm a terrible actor. And because, it was like season 2, and it's one of those things where it's kind of like bullshit, my line, bullshit, my line. And because, when you try and read one of those, 2 seasons in, it's like the Fire Nation and the this and the Lord of the... It doesn't make any sense.
No, it's like, what?
And, so I didn't know she was a villain until I did, like, my first con years and years later. I was with Dante, and someone came up and they were like, what's it like to be like a villain of Avatar? And I was like, Dante, I'm a villain? You ride around like a giant lizard and shit. I was like, really? That's why Ty Lee's like so chipper, because I just saw the video and she was pink. So I just played it like she's pink.
I had a picture, like a rendering or something of her, and they just said goth or whatever, and I was like, oh no. Nothing. I mean, yes, you're an actor, but I was like, that is just
It's the best voice for that, though.
Yeah, but I was like, that's not my spirit. Like, yeah, and so they'd be like, just keep doing less. I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, don't move your face. I'm like, oh, okay. Really? I just didn't move anything and talked, and it got kind of where it needed to be.
So Olivia brings up a good point. When exactly did you guys kind of find out about how big of a following Avatar: The Last Airbender has?
When it came out on Netflix 2 years ago. When I did my first con was 15 years ago, right? And I was in Australia, I was with Dante, and it was his first con. And I just thought they flew me out there because I'm fabulous. I don't know why I thought I was out there. And everybody was bringing up Avatar stuff. And it's like, when Avatar came out, the internet existed, but not in its current iteration, right? Like there was no social media or whatever, and the show only went 3 seasons. And typically, the former structure of television was, if a show was on for less than 5 seasons, it was dead, right? Like it wasn't a thing because you needed 5 seasons to go into syndication. So because it was only 3 seasons, I was like, well, I guess we got canceled. I don't know. I had no idea. And so, yeah, really with the internet, but going to that first con, everybody was having us sign Avatar stuff. And I was like, oh, that thing that I did, Yeah, but really just, and then with Netflix, I remember Jennie saying
Yeah, I had no idea, especially, when the pandemic hit. A bunch of friends started texting me about, oh my gosh, Jennie, Avatar's on Netflix. I'm like, okay. So then I was doing this session with this director who used to work at Nickelodeon. He's like, hey, Jennie, how does it feel to be on the #1 show on Netflix? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, Avatar. He's like, well, maybe I should post about it. And he was like, I don't think they need any help. And I'm like, okay.
this had been on Netflix before.
I don't know.
I had no idea. Thing of COVID and everybody locked in.
But I remember when it was out, actually running, I should say, what do we call it? On TV, not streaming. When it was on TV, I ran into a friend and with her daughter, and she was like, oh my God, she loves your show. And I was like, I think they have the wrong person. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. And she was like, the Avatar, and I was like, oh. And she was like a 7, 8-year-old. And she was like, I love it. And I was like, oh. I thought, okay, it's a kid's thing. I didn't think it would translate. Of course, it does, because it's beautiful. And I remember giving my scripts away. I gave her a script. I was like, here you go. She was like, this is great. I gave them all away. All of them. I don't have one. I was like, I'm so nice. I'm giving these to these cute kids. And then I'm like, I should have kept some.
Going along with that, what are some of the most memorable interactions you might have had with fans from the Avatar series?
Gosh, I always say there's not a con I do where I don't cry because it means so much to you guys, when people come up and they tell us how it helped them through a hard time in their life or how they can watch it with all the different generations of their family. And God, I remember someone coming up who was a burn victim and they were like, it was amazing to see a burn victim on TV. And it's just I can cry right now. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and to just kind of echo what Olivia's saying, Avatar has gone through different generations, right? So we're at this one con, and this whole family came up with I think they were the great-grandparents. They watched it. No, they were the grandparents, and then their kids with their grandkids. There were 10 of them that took a picture with us, and literally, I think I almost started crying in the picture because that's something that they're able to pass on to their family. They just loved it so much, and they were all together, and they were so excited. We were like, okay, let's get through this picture. There were so many of them, and it was actually so sweet.
For me specifically, I get so much, many messages from people about her just being a strong female, about being not having to express yourself at every damn moment. And how great that is, how introverts are just as exciting as extroverts, how diversity and inclusion and her actually having possibly some gender confusion, I think at times, means something to people now. So I get a lot of LGBTQ plus people saying thank you. I get people who have, mental health stuff, you know what I mean? And so it's just you just don't realize, right, how far the reach is. And that's why this is an we are honored. We would not be sitting here if it weren't for you. Are we going to
All right, this next question is more for funsies question. A lot of TV shows have like a mind swap it, so kind of a Freaky Friday sort of thing where your character swaps minds with another character. If you could think of a character in the cast that would be fun to play as for a day, who would it be?
Well, Appa. Well, because Suki and Azula are always battling it out. I mean, it'd be fun to get of their mindset of the opposite team.
I would be Uncle Iroh. I would be like, oh, young, I don't know.
Alrighty, I think I'm going to turn it over to the audience. Do any of you guys have any fantastic questions? Let's start with you.
Hey. So, I know this was a long time ago, but do you have any scenes or lines that you recorded that really like stuck with you afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite episode in general is the beach episode because it's a really nice, like the third season is so serious and that episode is serious. You get a lot of backstory. I like origin stories and kind of anything I watch. But then you also get to watch like Azula like cringe awkwardly and all that stuff. But I like that scene where they're all around the campfire and really conversing because there is so much kind of battle stuff in Avatar and it's really like a softer, quieter like moment, that's still like very intense.
Yeah, and my favorite line is from that one that May says, which is, it's a whole diatribe, but she says, you want me to express myself? Leave me alone. And it's like, yeah, that's her version of expressing. Like, she doesn't want to go into a wordy, explanation. So that's my favorite too.
All right, hands up again. I know I saw, yep, you in the back. Oh, you right there.
So how do you think your characters would have changed if you'd have known what you know now about the show when you started?
I probably just would have been later meaner,
But which maybe wouldn't have been good, so I don't know.
Scripts.
I think I would get in my head about it. I'd be like, oh, I have to live up to that. It would screw with my just innate choices, I think. And maybe I would try too hard to sound really, it would just be awkward.
Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily change anything. Probably just try and be more in the moment as myself, as opposed to just what I would change about the character. Because when you're an actor and you're not quote unquote a series regular on a show, it's always like you're going and finding your spot within the puzzle, right?
So I would be written off at any
Exactly.
moment.
Yeah, nothing is guaranteed, even when you are quote unquote a series regular. But yeah, it's always a little bit of an extra pressure sort of thing. So I think just be more chill about things.
And since the original Avatar Last Airbender series, there have been a lot of other things that have come out since then, like The Legend of Korra, there's been comic books, there's been, unfortunately, as we all know, a live-action movie that we shouldn't talk about.
Let us never talk about that.
What all do you guys know about those series?
What do we know about them?
Yeah, what do you know about them? Like,
Not much.
I think you guys know more than we do. Seriously.
But we're excited. I mean, we want all versions
very excited
of this to occur.
have any of y'all happened to see any of the more recent live action adaptations on Netflix, like One Piece? And what do you think about The Last Airbender potentially getting something like that?
We've seen, so it is. It's coming out, I think, in February. And I know everyone's like nervous because of the movie that we don't talk about. But we're all very excited. We've seen like some pictures of the costumes and like a tiny little snippet of something. But so regardless, I think it's going to be beautiful. And James, who plays the Cabbage Man in the cartoon, is playing the Cabbage Man in the live action, and he says that it's being made by people who really, really love the show, and he has a lot of faith in it, and so we're all very excited to see what that looks like.
And Tally Tran, who's playing May, reached out to me right away, and we were like, we need to do a duet. Like, we're, just to be cool, and she's a singer, and I just love her, and I'm excited, and and frankly, it's appropriate culturally for us not to, well, myself, I guess, not to play May in any live action, possibility. And I'm glad that they have these young people that are going to go on to have, maybe the same thing we're getting to experience.
Absolutely, we love to see that kind of representation. It's very important. I'm blanking on the next thing I was going to ask, so I'm going to turn it back over to the audience. Let's go with you right in your front.
Hello. So I have a question. I know Paramount announced that they made an entire new studio for Avatar for a new animated, like a series or a movie. Have you recorded any lines for those yet?
We have not.
No. Okay. You know about them though.
We know, yes, we know everything that you know. I mean, we're actors, so we are the last to hear anything.
Sure, but like we always say, like you are on to the next job, and they see it that way too. There's no, guarantee that we're going to be included in stuff, and we get it, but we're happy that it's happening. So we'd like to be.
Totally. Hello, Paramount. We're still here.
Oh, geez.
In that regard, since the original Last Airbender series to now, how do you think the voice acting industry as a whole has changed?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
There's just a lot more of us. It's harder to book jobs because there are so many more people. The internet really changed our industry because we used to go in, we would audition. Now you can have literally, and you do, for every role there are thousands of people that audition because click, 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 right? It's so much easier to just submit auditions, but also if I went into a studio and I auditioned, they could go, make her a little angrier, pitch her up, pitch her down, make her younger, whatever. I can't do that now. I have to be exactly what they want in my audition, right? So
We do everything at home.
yeah, so
it's
it's really way more just like firing a gun in the dark, and hoping you hit that target. So in terms of things changing, I mean, the internet is really what kind of switched all that for us.
Right? The pandemic, which then made everybody stay at home.
Yeah, so it's now we don't record as much with people, which I don't. Whenever I record with people, which we did in Avatar, we was recording kind of pods of who we, interacted with the most. My performance is not as good when I'm recording solo because I don't know how that actor before me is saying that line, right, that I'm responding to. So when I listen back, it's like, I wouldn't have said that had I known they were going to say it this way or whatever. But yeah, I miss recording in groups for sure.
Also, I think when we used to go into, especially for commercials, before I did animation, I'd go to these ad agencies in New York, every day. You'd be at 3 in a day, and they'd see you and know you and go, oh, that's Cricket. And you had, it was a chemical reaction that you'd have with people casting that we don't have now. So I miss that.
All right, I'm going to turn it back over to the audience again. Let's see you and then you.
Actually, ladies first.
Oh, good, of course.
Good job.
Thank you. So my question was, now that you said that you now know more about your characters after it was Avatar's and everything, y'all ever kind of have headcanons about your characters or ideas about, my character would react like this in this situation as you kind of go around about your daily life?
Not as much as that, but it's interesting to hear fan theories. I like the theory that Ty Lee is an air nomad and has kind of existed in that realm, which is a very popular fan theory. And yeah, it's just kind of interesting to hear what people do with the characters. And I think that's why they're going to be able to expand on the world so much and have with the comics and new movies and things, because there is so much source material there.
I do sometimes think about my character in my regular life, if that's what you meant. Because I am the type to be really expressive and wordy, and so I can take from her to just be more efficient with my words.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous here. I'm a little stuttery.
It's okay.
Okay, so, Ty Lee, what would you say is the secrets of cheat blocking? And you want to find the pressure points.
Oh, the secrets of chi blocking. Well, I don't know what the secrets of chi blocking is.
I actually used to know
You need to clear your energy and really focus, and then just
me and they really want to see it coming.
All right, hands up again. I think I saw you with the blue hair. Yeah, good. That's weird hair. It's early morning for a lot of us.
So one of the greatest things about Avatar is the female characters. Why do you think Avatar's female cast hits really well with people versus a lot of other characters in the West that tend to struggle with their female characters?
I would say the creators did a really very thorough and thoughtful job about writing each character, which obviously includes many of the female characters. I don't know in their minds what they were thinking, but the fact that they had, like a sibling duo, right? And then a lot of the quote-unquote villains or what have you, women, right? But I just felt like they really thought about these characters very thoroughly and wanted to represent them in just as full as they could be.
All right, so it is super amazing and awesome that 3 of the most badass characters in the show are non-benders. That being said, if y'all could bend an element, what would it be?
Are none of us benders?
No. I love it. I love being
I'm not an envious person. Suki really uses her skills. But if I were to say, as the actor of Suki, just because I love water, myself, maybe I would choose water because I have like this love sort of fear with it, and I would choose water and I would use it to my advantage.
I think I would use fire, just because that's more my vibe. But as a human, I would want to be able to see people's thoughts and things. So maybe like mind bending or mind seeing.
What about lie detecting?
Yeah, I feel like I'd be like a water. As a person, I'm like very go with the flow, so I'd probably be a water bender. But you want the fire power, right?
Yeah.
I was wondering, y'all got any funny stories from one of your voice acting on the show that you would like to share off that?
Funny voice acting stories. I don't know. From this show. Jenny was telling us last night she did a sex scene.
That's for later. What time is it? I have a sort of a dumb sort of story that I tell. On the last episode, most of us three were there included on the last episode, which was really fun to be able to just be with almost the entire cast. And in the studio, they had to really fit us in, and it was really tightly packed. And so there was one voice, and I was like, where's that voice coming from? Who is that? Because I'd seen so many episodes, yeah. So anyway, I kept hearing this voice, and I was like, wow, he's really good, okay. So I didn't know who it was, and so later they had like a little rap thing at the end of the recording. I remember Cricket and Olivia were there, and we talked for 3 seconds.
Everyone talks about this session.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, and so they leave, they go away, whatever. And so I'm talking with this other person, and Dante was there, we're just kind of shooting shit, whatever. And so I was like, oh, well, he was nice. And Dante's like, do you know who that was? I was like, no. He's like, that's Mark Hamill. And I was like, I'm like, is that the guy who was in the corner that we couldn't see? He's like, oh my God, Jenny, yes. And I was like, oh, no wonder why he's so good. No, he was in the very, very corner. I was like, oh my God. I didn't know.
But then I was like, what are you doing with that? Right? What are you going to do with that?
Hi, Mark Hamill. I don't know. I would have treated him any differently, but I just didn't know.
When I was freaking out, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Just chill. You would look crazy if you didn't do that.
Yeah.
All right, follow-up question with that. Do you guys have any fun stories that you can share from conventions with other cast members?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, there's so many, but I honestly, at the end of a convention, we're always like, then we're like, oh my God, did you see the guy dressed in the did you see the cabbage? You know, we have lots of things, but then when we go to the next one, I kind of forget about those. So
Yeah, it's all a wonderful.
a little bit,
But where it's fun, it's like life
it's
on the
super
road.
fun.
It's,
But we just like they don't. I guess nothing's really.
This panel, by the way, is the last panel we did. We were with 13 other voice actors, and we only had 3 mics, and the mics were corded, and we were like, it was so much this is so much better.
And Olivia was like, she was like, okay, next question. And the people were like, oh, yeah, yeah. I was like, no.
There were 12 people answer, and the moderator was asking us like, what our favorite foods were.
So good job.
Honestly, okay,
Good job. Well organized.
Yeah.
Interesting
And
questions.
we're very relaxed.
I'm not gonna lie, a lot of these I'm kind of just coming up with all the
No,
time.
that was good. You're great.
Well, thank you. No, all of you are great. All right, I'm going to turn back over to the audience again. I see you right up here front, and then I see you next.
So with all the different folks that have come out, if Nickelodeon or Netflix or Paramount came to you guys and was like, hey, we want to turn the books into a show, would you guys come back and voice your characters?
Yes, we love to work.
I can't wait for that.
What are they calling us is the question. We are ready. Look it. We're ready.
We're dressed.
We're
Put me in, coach.
And we'll be waiting by the phone like in the 80s. We'll be like, is it working? I don't know if it's working. He's not calling.
And I got a question. Y'all ever use your voice acting cards for evil? Mess with anybody like in a drive-thru or like any
I wouldn't say it's for evil, but where I live, we have this Panera. This is so embarrassing. Panera bread? Dude. Panera. Okay. I love Panera. And I guess my Panera card has Cricket Leigh on, right? I don't know how. Maybe it was an old card sound married, but whatever. And so when you go in there and use it, it's no big deal. They get your food. But when you go through the drive-through, they see it in the ticket. And so I drive through, and I looked horrible. I had just been to the gym or something, and they were all kind of scurrying about in there. And I'm like, what's happening in there? It's just a bread bowl. What are you doing? You know? And then the girl comes and she's like, are you Cricket Leigh? I'm like, uh-huh. She's like, did you play May in Avatar? And I was like, uh-huh. And she's like, oh my God. They all were like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So they gave me little napkins, and I signed. I mean, that was not for evil, but like, that's hilarious. And now, but every time I go through, and it's not every time, but it's just these kids or these young people knew, you know, who I was. But not because of my voice, just maybe the name. I don't know. You think I should get free Panera, but no.
So, well, Uncle Iro has like an Uncle Iro phone case, and when he goes to a bar, he'll like put his like phone on the bar, and if the bartender's like, oh, Avatar, like actor, he's like, well, I play Uncle Iro, and that's how he gets free drinks. Yeah.
And then I do it like, I mean, obviously if you're doing a cameo or something, which I love, because then, you know, it's someone's birthday, or someone's like, hey, you know, will you do a video for this person, and you get to curate a cool message for them in the character. I love that.
All right, more questions? I see you, and I see you.
My question is, can you guys do a Zuko impression?
Can you be a little louder?
Can you do a Zuko impression?
Oh, yeah.
That's rough, buddy. I don't know, but whenever we talk about Dante, it's always like, hey Jenny, what?
Yeah.
Dante's like, you know, I don't know, I just go, ow.
Nobody goes, hey. Or then he goes, like, when we were in the show, he goes, I don't hate you too. I don't hate you either.
I don't know why they cast me, because I can only do one voice.
He says that all the time. Awesome.
Okay, so I don't have a question. I just want to say, as a father and a grandfather, I've been able to relate
And now we're all crying. See? Thank you. So sweet. Makeup up here, sir.
But it's so cool because, you know, I want to say that it's hard sometimes to relate to people 2 generations away from us. And you just kind of grab what you can. And if this show is that thing, amen. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, all right.
So my question is, how much creative liberty did you guys get and the lines you said and the way you said it? Because you did have a group environment for Avatar. So I'm kind of curious, how much were you able to bounce off of each other to make your own limericks or own way of talking?
That always depends on the show, but with Avatar, not really.
Yeah, no.
Right, so sometimes in certain shows they want you to be able to ad-lib and they encourage it. With Avatar, it was very spot on. So basically what they wanted you to do is basically, this sounds really kind of weird, but act on your lines, right? So if there's something they really want, express it through the words they've written. And luckily the words were written well, so we're able to do that.
Yeah, I just remember when I would go rogue, she'd be like, no, take that down. Like Andrea, she just knew what she was looking for, and I stayed in that box, which is fine, because I like direction. Like, it feels good to get direction and hit that.
It's nice to not be on the spot and have to ad-lib sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, more questions. I see you in the back. Yeah.
So, not to cause any girl drama,
Oh,
but
here we go.
What do you think of the Sokka and Ty Lee ship?
Oh, I mean, Tyler's a flirt, right? So she's like down to clown anybody. Who'll give her attention. And I mean, Sokka's hot, right? Like, I'm into it. I would do it. I really like to eat. I really like to eat. I would drink some cactus juice. I'm very God, not like that. It's
I had no idea about this. We'll have a talk later. See you at my table, miss.
I think it's awesome, and I mean, I have no dog in this fight, but when I think about who I would ship with, I mean, I think that me and Tylee would be like pretty rad. Just as a concept, it would be cool. I know.
Is there anywhere in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender that you would like to be able to visit? Whether it's like the Earth Kingdom, the Fire Nation, or hey, somewhere out in the sticks?
Ember Island. Yes, Ember Island. We've been there, yes.
Yeah, we like the beach. All of us like the beach.
Understandable.
Everybody loves
I'm going to turn it back over to the audience. I see you. Yes.
Sorry, the lights over here are really bright, so we get a lot of the
Alright, hi, my name's Jessie. I just wanted to say...
Choke up on that mic a little bit more.
Hello? Yeah. Okay, there we go. Hi, my name is Jessie. I just wanted to say thank y'all. Honestly, I obviously watched Avatar when I was like little, but I was like 3, so I don't remember much. Obviously, I don't. But I'm like, oh, the green girl, and that was that was my extent when I was like 3. But as I got older, and then when Avatar really hit the scene and the pandemic, the strong female characters, I was going through a lot. Everyone was going through a lot, but y'all's characters specifically, very strong, very like, I don't want to say politically hurt like at the time, but obviously, you know, very much into the scene. I just want to thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you. That's awesome to hear.
I'm asking y'all to pick favorites here. Who was the best person on the show to work with?
We only recorded, it was usually me, Cricket, and Greg Lau who plays,
I mean, I love Greg because she's...
I love Greg, she's a lunatic and she knows
she's a lunatic, yeah.
Which is my favorite.
I think she might be too. I mean, she's just such a wild card that you're like, oh.
Yeah, we love Greg.
So maybe...
I didn't really get to record with these ladies so much except at the end, like I was saying, but most of my scene work, if I was in a group, would be with Jack, Dante, and May. We love everyone, honestly. Everyone's just dope.
All right, more questions from the audience. I see you back there. Anyone else? And I see you over there. All right.
So as you've been saying, I've heard Last Airbender has been around for a long time. It continues to have an impact, especially during the pandemic, and judging by everyone here, it seems to have a lasting impression. But my question is there any piece that you guys have acted in that is not Avatar: The Last Airbender that you wish had the same level of notoriety or longevity?
I want everything to be notorious and have longevity. I love this. My favorite show, cartoon show that I've ever worked on is called Hey Arnold. Because I was a kid when I did that show, so it's like it's people's childhood, but it's my childhood too. And we did a full-length like feature that came out a couple years ago called The Jungle Movie, which if you haven't seen it. See it. And Nickelodeon just didn't promote it that well because it was kind of supposed to launch into a reboot of the series, and we didn't get to do that. So I wish that we had had that opportunity again.
Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say that would have been amazing, by the way. Did I do something wrong? Sorry. Thank you. Hello? Oh, that's right. Not a voice project, but I mean, I'm a theater nerd, so that's more what I was into, and stage was my focus, even when I lived in LA, which is really weird. But I wrote a one-woman show where I played 10 characters, from an 80-year-old black man to a 12-year-old Indiana girl, you know, and so I would have loved that to have gotten more runs, that to maybe been shot into a little film and been on HBO. That would have been my little dream.
Next question, Jennie, you don't have anything that you wish had gone longer?
I mean, I can just shout. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. So when you were in the voice booth, were there any like odd directions that people had you take, or like were there times when you like had to get really aggressive and like I don't know, you like punch something so you could get in the mood for that?
You mean Avatar related?
Yeah, like just like direction that you got like while you were in the booth, like that they said like say it more like this. I don't know.
No, I mean for myself, I don't think anything was way outlandish, right? But sometimes I'll work with a director that's my friend on some anime, and he's like, okay, Jennie, now can you just be like, fuck your ass? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. And it's just because they want it for their own special take. I'm like, is this going to end up somewhere?
Yeah. But in other, not in Avatar, but when you guys have had to do death scenes, which I've done,
death scenes are exhausting.
They're horrible, and you sound
most tired.
You sound terrible. You look ridiculous, and they're so serious. Like, okay, now you're falling down the mountain. It's a lot of snow. I'm like, oh my god. And you're like, I don't know. You're trying to sound.
It's like we try and save those for the end of the session, in the middle, because it's so exhausting and like vocally straining.
Yeah, exactly. But those are wacky directions. Yeah.
Those are wacky.
But yours,
oh my god,
yours tops.
I did this like when I was a kid. It's weird. It must air somewhere because I get residuals for it. But it was this movie with like live action movie with these golden retrievers called Napoleon. I don't know. No one's ever seen it. I know, but I get residual checks for like 12 cents. But it's weird. Anyway, yeah, one of the scenes I was like I was a golden retriever. I was drowning. I was a kid. I was maybe like 12 or something. And they had this like bowl of water, and they were like sticking our heads in this bowl of water. So that like child torture. Yeah, no, I know. Isn't that weird?
Waterboarding.
Yeah. I don't think then what would they make you do after we were drowning? So we were acting, okay, like stick our heads in this bowl of water. Your head. Yeah. Oh, I thought you said your hand. No, our head.
Oh.
I don't think they do stuff like that anymore. But child acting in the 80s and 90s was wild. There was some wild shit. That one. Yeah. I don't know. I get that 12% residual check. Yeah, you guys think we're joking, but literally we get residual checks all the time where it costs more to mail it. I'm like, can you just like stack these or donate them?
Or direct deposit.
What? Yeah, direct deposit would be nice. Yeah, you back there with a question? What? No?
We got one over here.
Oh.
Right
Okay.
back.
Hi, are there any animals from Avatar that you would have to pet that aren't off?
Turtle duck.
Yeah, I love the duck. Any animal besides that one that you would like?
No,
Turtle
ducks.
Oh, cute bubble. She's so sad. Only has love for Appa.
Nobody likes Momo. Like, nobody likes the
Momo's amazing.
I think it would be my pick.
Almost.
Oh, hi. On the, you mentioned some stuff about the residual checks, right?
Yeah.
It's not. Will you stand up? We can't hear you. Just yell it out.
It cut out.
What are your thoughts right now about the SAG-AFTRA strike?
Weird question.
Yeah. So the question is, what are our thoughts about the SAG-AFTRA strike? So the way that residuals used to be is we would make our money in syndication. So a show would run, and then it would run in residuals, and every time it would run, you get a little less money, a little less money, a little less money. Well, now we get no money because shows really aren't running on TV there's shows on TV, but they're not reruns. You know how I used to just like shows would run during the summer or whatever, now they kind of run once and then they're over. So where they're running is Netflix, right? And we see really $0 from that. Like we literally will maybe get 12 cents or something. And so I think there's this, I don't think I know, because I hear it from people all the time, this thought that actors are rich, right? So typically, I'll just break it down for you. When we do an episode of a show, we'll get $1,000, around that, like $900 or something. Now, that sounds like a lot of money, right? But maybe we only do one show a month, right? So,
For some, not even that.
and for
right?
some, not even that. Most people, not even that. And so, and a video game, same thing, $1,000. And so it sounds like some money, but unless you're working all the time, what happens is this job is really just a hobby, right? And we're actors. We spend most of our time auditioning, and we work really hard at this craft. If you want to, I know it feels like a little elitist to call it a craft, but you know, whatever way, it's not something that everyone can do. And I've personally been doing this 35 years. I know you've been doing it same, long. And so it sucks to have this job that used to be a career get turned into a hobby, And so the reason we're striking and all of that is to be able to survive, So we're not all rich. It's a very small percentage of people who are able to make a living at this. And thank God
They
for
say
cons and that sort of
They
thing.
were
But
working class in a way, I think back to like Elizabethan times, and there were always the clowns of the court, They weren't the master. They were the clowns. They're the entertainers. That's us. I mean, not
so
in a
it's
way, but
it's
we're
really
entertainers.
important. And so we know the reason the strike's going on for so long and all of that is because if we let this go at this point, it's over forever. We let it go years ago because SAG and everyone didn't know how big streaming was going to be. So when it came up before, we were like, we won't really fight for that. It's no big deal. Well, now it is a big deal. And this is it. And so if we don't get residuals at this point, we never will again. And it will gut our industry. Yeah. So it's very important. Thank you. Thank you.
For many questions, you're kind of just going to have to shout it. Let's start.
I think
with,
that's fine.
I saw a hand up over here. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, since y'all are like making less money, what keeps you going?
For making less money, what keeps us going? You mean in terms of like emotionally or actual like money wise?
Sugar daddies?
Yes. No, because we love what we do. And honestly, look, like I was a child actor, right? I started acting when I was like 3 years old. I didn't go to college. I've never done anything else. So for me, like, I keep going because, like, what the hell else am I going to do, kids? Like, this is it, So, yeah, so for me, it's like there's no other option. My brain's not even, can't even go there for myself.
Yeah, despite the strike going on, there's still have been opportunities coming in, but you know, one of the questions which we're like, okay, this is great. One of the questions that we get all the time, oh, I want to get into the voiceover industry, this and that. Well, here's the thing. I tell everybody this, you're going to be working a lot before you actually work, which means 85–90% of what you're doing is sending auditions in if you're lucky enough to get a decent agent, and maybe 10% you're working. So maybe 10%, you know. And so, for example, in our case, we've been doing this a very long time. That hopefully at this point, you know, certain people may know we're still here. But a lot of the times people come and ask us these questions, and I want to get into it, and then someone's. Not to say that you shouldn't, but you should really be informed about what you're getting yourself into. It's not something ever that happens overnight. I'm sorry, that just doesn't exist.
Even in a 5-year plan. It's like, sorry, I'm 25.
You have to be in it for the long run. There's a lot of different factors that go into it. So, at this point, you know, maybe we're not like slinging burgers or working at a bakery or...
We don't get offers. We audition for everything.
Well said. It's what keeps me going. I mean, in my case, I have a great faith structure, so that helps. Because I just put it to that. I'm like, you know, there's not a lot I can do just as a human. But I also went back to school and I got a master's in social work, not because I was not working in voiceover. I just felt that, I don't know, I just felt there were gifts that weren't being used, so that's been awesome, and what a blessing I did not know that I would need. So I get to see clients and help them transform their lives. But as I'm now heading back toward wanting to be more creative and wanting to go back to the entertainment industry, there's this strike. So it's, you know, how do I keep going? I work, you know, I see clients like them. You know, if I get back into that, I'll be auditioning. But it cannot be my main bread, right? You have to have other things going on.
All right, other questions? Let's start with you right here. Is there anyone over here? All right, we'll get to it.
We have time for like 2 more, maybe?
Okay, go for it, and then I'll go over here.
What is your favorite piece of advice from Uncle Iro?
Oh, what's that when you look for the dark, always find it, you look for the light, somebody
Something like that. Someone here probably knows the whole thing better than us.
All right, question over here.
Would you marry me?
All of us right now.
Shall we do a ceremony right here? We have to move to Salt Lake for this.
That's such a good TV show idea.
They have a show called Sister Wives.
I know,
I need to catch up on. I watched that.
That's our Sister Wives.
All right, we have another question up here.
If you could voice act any other character in like anything, show, movie, etc., what would you voice act?
I just like doing villains, so it's like I don't get to do villains enough. My wheelhouse is kind of like 10-year-old girls, so like anything like Azula would be really fun.
Mine's the opposite, right? I want to play like a happy, peppy teenage girl or something.
Who do I want to play? Appa.
All right, do you think we have time for at least one more? Anybody? All right, let's do you in the back.
Sorry. So obviously we know who your favorite character is, but if you had a second favorite character that inspired you, or anything like that, who would it be? Any show, any anime, anything, the entire universe, your second favorite character?
Any animated character ever? Jesus. I love The Little Mermaid, and I love Ursula. I think she's like the best villain ever. So yeah, I don't think that character would exist today. Like they wouldn't write her like that, and then she's dope. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's so funny. It's I don't really often think about the first and then to go to the second. Whoa. You know what movie I like watching a lot, and whenever it comes on, I'll watch Beauty and the Beast, which is very interesting. I didn't realize how much I like the characters about.
Who would you be if you could be anyone in Beauty and the Beast?
This is so hard to say.
I know. Wait, who would I be in Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah. There's like the teacup, and there's Lumiere, and there's Gaston, and there's this dumb friend.
Is the armoire.
Yeah.
She's
other character we should play in Avatar? You know?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's a lot of opinions.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly.
Zuko chorus.
What was that?
Zuko chorus.
Green chorus is brilliant.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you so much, you
Thank
guys.
you. Off and on all day from 11 o'clock on. Come take pictures with us. And then we're all doing the karaoke thing tonight. I don't know.
Karaoke.
That's at 7 or 8.
Let me
Oh,
look
you
up.
guys, can everybody
behind us.
come up here and all bunch together? We're all a happy con here, and we're gonna do a quick picture if you guys are all cool with that. If you just want to come up.